I'm Greg Hunter. Welcome to USAWatchdog.com. My last guest, the last time this guest was on, the title of the post was Black Star Intensifying Volcanoes, Earthquakes, and Extreme Weather. It was Weston Warren talking about this electromagnetic anomaly entering our solar system. It doesn't come through like Halley's Comet, but it's entering our solar system and we come to it. We're coming around year after year, and it's getting closer and closer. Anyway, that's exactly what happened. It was only a month ago. And that's exactly what happened. Look what happened here. Volcanoes are erupting all over the world. See where lava is flowing. Nearly 50 volcanic eruptions have been recorded so far this year, and more expected. I think last time Weston Warren was on, he said it was 64. And that had grown from, 30 or 35 or so and went up 30 volcanoes. Here's this, another one that just came out. Ring of Fire is waking up. What's waking it up? Quakes, eruptions, and deep breath of the planet. Speaking of a deep breath of a planet, here's the Russian volcano that went off after 600 years. Now, this is ash going into the sky. Weston tells me 20,000 feet. 20,000 feet ash. Where's that going to come down on people? I'm glad he has an air purification company too. We can talk about that as well. This is just 8/4/25. This just happened. The sixth strongest earthquake ever recorded hit Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula last week. It says right here. It said there were tsunami warnings all over the world, especially Hawaii. Thank goodness it wasn't as bad as it was, but this is the last one. Okay, this is the sixth biggest ever recorded. I think it was an 8.6 or 7 magnitude. But here's what they kind of left out. Early Sunday, the same sparsely populated peninsula, the Kresnimikov volcano, spewed white ash clouds into the sky for the first time in hundreds of years. What's waking that up? What's waking up Mount Kilauea? What's waking that up? This is the volcano they're talking about that I just showed you. Hundreds of years. The Kamchatka Volcanic Eruption Response Team, it's KVERT, called it a historic eruption. Without further ado, I just want to bring on Weston Warren. Weston Warren is also with Weston Scientific, has the great air purification machines. We're probably going to need them if they're going to get all this ash spew into the air. Weston Warren, thank you for coming on again. Your prediction was correct. We did have volcanoes, more of them. We did have earthquakes, the sixth largest ever recorded since the last time you were on. What's going on right now?
Well, the stresses will continue. The Earth environmental stresses will continue. So the stresses will then be transferred to you and I and the listening audience. So I wish I could sugarcoat or maybe fudge the future predictions to make the audience seem easier listening to this interview, but that would not be honest or fair. So unfortunately on this update, the news is stressful. It's not good. This will continue. And we have this increase to a crescendo at least next 6 years, easily.
So this is going to go on for a while, but there's times where it gets more intense because of the way the Earth is positioned relative to this electromagnetic anomaly, the Black Star. Right now, the sun is between us and the anomaly right now.
Right, and we refer to it as an anomaly. But to clarify in other interviews, I get some emails and some comments. This is according to physics model of field theory. It's completely different than atomic theory. Atomic theory is classically trained. That's what I had, a listening audience. But if you're within the bookends of atomic theory and academia, this model, this anomaly should not exist. So the first reaction is to dismiss it as crazy talk. It can't be confirmed, so ignore it. My word of caution is I used to be that way. It's taken many decades to understand field theory, and under field theory physics, this anomaly absolutely can and does exist. So with that being said, the Earth is behaving picture the Earth as a live entity, where it has consciousness. It's alive. The Earth is testifying that it's under stress. How do we know that? If you know where to look, the clues are very obvious. There's magma pressurization crisscrossing the globe, northern, southern hemisphere. There's these magma corridors. They're very old, millions and millions of years old. And in these magma corridors, there's most of Earth's history, they're dormant, inactive, or minimal activity. There's geological evidence that throughout time, that's not the case. There's massive pressurization. Magma is expanding from the core, rising, displacing the rocky glassy type, different viscosity magma that the continental crusts are floating on. Well, evidence of that is the thousands of volcanoes, a lot of which you can't see because they're on the seafloor, ocean bed. Some you can see because they're above ground. Well, what are all these volcanoes that crisscross this globe that we live on? These are ancient pressure relief valves. So they wouldn't have existed if you hadn't had times throughout history where magma rises, expands, pressurizes, and it has to escape somewhere. It can escape where continental plates meet, mid-Atlantic Rift, for example, or in areas within the continental crust or bordering the continental crust, you have chains of volcanoes. Well, what's been happening is evidence has shown for 20 plus years, the Earth has been slowly pressurizing and pressurizing and pressurizing. Now it's being manifest where the news can't hide it, or it's public knowledge, because there's activities along the seafloor. There's technologies now to pick up on it, or it's visible in the news because volcanoes that have been inactive 600, 1,000 years, all of a sudden are active.
And the reason why it's active, but why is it active? It's because of this black star, this anomaly is waking things up, correct? I mean, the Earth is a nickel and iron. The core of it is nickel and iron, molten, correct?
Right. Well, with different physics, which people aren't familiar with the model in field theory, what is causing the Earth, the core, the extra energy, what is causing this? It takes a lot of energy to get the magma to expand, rise, pressurize, and go towards the surface. So the simple question is, if you use atomic theory physics, which people are familiar with, what's the model? What's the reason for this activity? It can't be the sun. And I get that with emails and everything, and I think we'll have to let it go. They're going to believe their way. I have my scientific training. It's two different schools of thought. All right, that's fine. With your model, you'll have to come up with some reasons. With this model and the listening audience, the reason why I'm on here is the Earth is receiving additional electromagnetic energy other than our sun. We're in solar cycle. I mentioned this before, I think in the first part of this series. We're in solar cycle 25. So these solar cycles, 11-year increments. The last three solar cycles, so 23, 24, we're in 25. This solar cycle started December 2019. The solar cycles have been getting weaker as time goes on. And we just passed in 2024 the peak of this solar cycle 25, and now it's waning and going down. So it can't be our current solar cycle. That wouldn't explain the increased electromagnetic energy this Earth, it's other planets too, but this Earth is receiving. Our model's showing, well, it's an anomaly, a second electromagnetic emitter, but it's a different electromagnetic emitter than our sun. And the model's been accurate, way accurate. You and I talk privately. We've had this information for many years. You decided to start having this on your broadcast, but the models and the predictions have been well in the 90%. So something's working correctly. So this extra energy that the Earth is absorbing is manifesting one way, is the rising of magma, the expansion, the displacement, of magma that the continental shelves are floating on. But then this affects temperatures of sea floors. So then you have situations where ocean currents are slowing or perhaps stalling. So you have the AMOC, which is your Atlantic meridional overturning circulation, the Gulf Stream, for example. The ocean currents and the oceans being very efficient and the best way for the Earth to regulate temperature, they're slowing down or stalling. This is exacerbating the situation. So what happens is the jet stream is acting schizophrenic. It is trying to take over or help where the ocean currents used to be very efficient. So you have extreme weather. We talked about the hailstones getting larger and larger and larger. It's being documented. We talked about this last 17, 18 years, right as predicted. Hailstorms, tornado activities, especially in areas not known to have tornadoes. The Midwest, we just had, you and I live in the Midwest, we had, you hear in the news, you talk about these high pressure hot pocket domes. Well, we've had like heat index, 113 degrees, miserable, absolutely miserable for about 2 weeks. That affects people's mood. It affects crops. In this area where we are, it's so hot, free-range chickens aren't laying eggs. So you have dynamics of plants and animals being affected. This all correlates. So this is going to affect crops and food, availability of food, the cost and price of food. This is all coming to a head, and it's not going to get better. It's going to increase and intensify in the years to come.
You're saying that this anomaly in space, which we come around to, show people where we are now. You have a thing which I think is very. People think people think that this thing is coming through like Halley's Comet. No, it's kind of just floats slowly, so fast that we can come around. It comes closer and closer to it, and at some point we're going to get really close. It's not going to hit the Earth, you say, but it's going to be more magnetic the closer it gets. Just like a magnet is stronger the closer it gets to metal. Go ahead.
Right. So let me know if you can see.
There you go.
The screen.
I can. It's white.
Okay.
There it is.
Yeah. So on this model, we have this situation. This is in real time, or you can adjust the dates down here to see the location of planets in relation to our sun, or you can grab a planet and move it, and the dates will change down here. So this anomaly would match historical records, if you want to consider historical records like Earth's geology in times past, or what happened in the Great Flood that the texts talk about. So our understanding with field theory is this is an anomaly that can and has entered our solar system and leaves. It's not consistent. It moves. But it would be inbound, and if this anomaly gets close enough, when it gets inbound, then it would start affecting planets, especially the interior planets, your Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. The other planets are affected, but it depends where they are in the orbit. So our points of concern, as I mentioned before, this is more of a review, is depending on where this anomaly is located. It's not large. It doesn't have to be large to be an electromagnetic emitter. But as it's inbound, coming into our solar system, depending where the planets are aligned in this anomaly, you can have greater electromagnetic input to a degree and a lesser electromagnetic
input. So you think it's over here, right where your cursor is? You think it's over here right now, somewhere?
Yes.
Right where your cursor is, somewhere here. And then we're on the other side over here.
Right. So maybe from underneath, like right about where the cursor is. See where Mars is?
Yes.
So if I tilt it so you can see where Earth is, Now, I did this before, but for review, I'll grab Earth and spin it. And this is where we're concerned when you get into here.
Right.
See, when you get in here, which is in February-ish, 2026, Earth is close to this anomaly, but the solar system harmonics, look at the planets all over here and the Earth's by itself. So we have that as a concern. And then if you fast forward it again, we have a similar situation where you're coming in 2028. So over the next 6 years, depending on the positions of the planets, Jupiter and Saturn are still, Jupiter is still out of position to help run interference. So the next 6 years, this is of concern. So
what's going to get, there's two big spikes in problems that you think that this will get worse, in February of 26, January, February of 26, and January, February of 28. But still, there's still enough magnetic pull for this to set off the 6th biggest earthquake ever up in the Kamchatka Peninsula that just happened recently.
Yeah, right. And then we're dealing with, let's see, this is 2020, we go to 2025. So we have this, and we're back in, I'll get close to August.
There you go.
So we're having this, even though the Earth isn't, say, so to speak, astrologically, it's not right on top of this anomaly. We still have all this activity in August. So you can imagine how it intensifies and wanes, depending on where the planets are in their orbit. Are there other planets as well? Or are there times where the Earth is all by itself? Those are very important points of concern. But the alert has been given for years now. But the next 6 years, minimum next 6 years, will intensify. So what happens to a real black swan event is not from an alphabet agency or orchestrated behind the scenes, let's say by the bad guys. We know that can happen and has happened. This particular black swan event is not going to be controlled by man or science technology, DARPA type or a HARP. No. This is way beyond man's ability. And we're going to see situations where infrastructure is affected, ports, sea lanes, aircraft being able to travel. Because what happens when you don't have 6 or 7 active volcanoes, but when you have 60?
You said that
above ground. How many? You have 30 or 40 under the ocean floor. These are dynamics that modern mankind has not had to deal with. This will crush any government or the world's economy. There is no fixing this. This will affect industry, supply chain. This will affect food, animal, plant behavior, human behavior, psychologically with the electromagnetic signature that our DNA is tuned to. So we have multiple vectors where humanity will be under great stresses. If you want to refer to ancient texts, there's different spiritual beliefs in your audience. I try to stay neutral, considering the fact of your audience, the broadband audience that you have. But whatever your spiritual philosophy is, there is a component in this that cannot be ignored as far as human cognizant ability. Human consciousness will definitely be affected. It's being affected now with people's behavior. It's going to get worse, unfortunately. This is meant not to scare the audience, but to give you a heads up, to wake up, pay attention to what's going on. And there's some things that I would put 1, 2, 3 on my top list of things to do in preparation for what's coming and what human society. This is probably an event that most likely won't be repeated, of great historical value. And we happen to be living right when this thing is kicking off.
Didn't Jesus say there'd be no time like it ever before and ever in the future? This would fit the bill, would it not?
Well, that right, but also there might be other spiritual beliefs in your listening audience. Perhaps they have some similar language that should also be giving them a heads up of where we are in a particular point in time in human history. So whatever that is, I agree with what you just said as far as talking about this in scriptural reference text. There's other belief systems. Don't they also talk about a time period like this? So here, look, this is earthquakes 3D. Do you see it?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Is there a slight problem here? Look at this stack right here.
Oh,
look
right
at this.
It's on Russia.
Yes. This is, if you understand geology, 8.8. It's very hard for the human mind to comprehend the amount of energy and what it takes to have an 8.8. And what's concerning, and I'll show, because here's your Pacific Rim. So you always have this active area in New Zealand, Indonesia, and it circles around, and you have consider the Philippines, but it comes up the coast here, and Japan, poor Japan. Densely populated, what's coming to Japan in that area. But this causes, if you know, scientists like this causes you to not sleep at night. The amount of energy involved. And this epicenter, if reports are accurate, was only 12 miles below the surface. That's not good news, ladies and gentlemen.
The 8.8 was only 12 miles below the surface.
The epicenter. If it were 150, 200 miles, we'd be like, yeah, this is pressurizing. And at 12 miles, 12 miles.
This is the sixth
getting ready to breach the surface.
Oh.
Okay. Well, what happens is this is the same Pacific Ring of Fire. Your articles that you showed. We've all known this in school. This isn't new news. I'm not saying anything new. But this continues. It hits the Alaska line. So here's the activity in Alaska. All of this trunk line is going to be extremely active and go. And when it goes, it affects oceans sloshing. It'll affect major cities that are along coastlines. How can it not? But it comes down. It'll come down all the way down here. See if I can get a little closer. Down Canada. And then you have your Washington, Oregon, California. This is all connected to the trunk lines. When you have Yellowstone, you have Mount St. Helens, Mount Hood, Mount Rainier, the Ariel Seamount off of Oregon. This all is pressurized. It's like a kettle when it boils water and the kettle starts whistling. Things are going to shake, rattle, and roll. And you're going to have South America. You hear Chile, Peru. All of this is just a powder keg. Well, Europe's not any better because the activity that's going to happen is all through the Mediterranean, the Middle East, the Mediterranean.
These are earthquakes, and these earthquakes are volcanoes. These are earthquakes.
These are earthquakes, yeah. And then the earthquake activity. This is supposed to be a lull period, August. This is supposed to be quiet, a lull period. Wait till you get to those time periods that I showed in January, February, March-ish, 2026. January, February, March is 2028. So it's important to be alert. See what your I don't want to sound hokey, but see what your inner self is telling you. What if you quiet your mind down and try to avoid the distractions of media, the economy, politics, geopolitics, bills that you might have, the car that needs work. Try to quiet your mind down and see what your inner gut, your spiritual connection is telling you. Do you think there's problems globally with humanity, with our culture, with society? Are people on edge? Or are we heading towards more peace, cooperation, equity as far as the rich and poor, or people's needs being met, basic needs, food, shelter, clothing? Where's humanity headed? What's the vector, the direction look like? Something is not right. We're going in the wrong direction. So what I'm telling you is with field theory, there's a conscious element. Consciousness is involved in reality. Humans are very powerful. And I'll just say this one statement and then stop and let you interject. And if you want to redirect this interview back on course, you should do so.
Oh, we're on course. We're on course.
Okay, humans, very marvelous design because, and there's a lot of documentaries and books. We play a large part in forming and creating reality. Well, we can be negative and a Debbie Downer, and our life seems to kind of follow that path. We can be very positive. We can have desires and goals. We can be positive and maybe manifest a lot of that. Association is very important. Scriptures and other religious philosophies, if you have good association, positive association, your outcome would be different than negative, bad association. Entertainment is association, even though it's in digital form. You could have good entertainment or bad entertainment, good association. So, with that being the case, there's philosophies out there that clearly show there's a very large, greater consciousness outside of the human experience, outside of human society. So if you want to call that God, creator, source, these would all be proper. There's some that might use a personal name based on scriptures. Okay, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. I can understand. Others go, I don't think. All right, whatever your beliefs are. But in that realm, at the higher consciousness, especially if you're dealing in counter space, in dimensions other than our own, there isn't chaos at that level. There can't be. There has to be stability with mental projection, with a consciousness that's stable.
When you say counter space, you mean heaven.
Yeah, in field theory, heaven is counter space.
Okay.
We know the physics of counter space. And in counter space, I'd say, is where God dwells, source, higher intelligences, very old intelligence, and maybe the scriptural text references, if you talk about angels, that realm, that's counter space. They're not in the third, fourth, fifth dimension per se, but they're in a higher. Okay, at that level, the thoughts and consciousness is very refined, very advanced, very mature.
That's why
humans.
That's why it says in the Bible, Jesus says, "My thoughts are higher than yours. My ways are higher than yours." Right? I mean,
yeah, that realm. Yeah, and it makes sense because okay, well, humans, we're not that old when you compare it to other life forms. We're kind of the new kids on the block, and right now we're in a state where we have prejudice, hatred, disagreements, violence. It's like, oh my goodness, what's wrong with the human race? But at a higher level, it has to be very calm and based on love, based on advanced engineering, based on stability for life to exist in any dimension. Well, we have chaos going on right here. Do you think, this is a rhetorical question, or you can answer, but to the audience, do you really think at the higher level in heaven or counter space and these very old life forms or the creator God, do you think the coupled will allow this chaos that's on this planet to continue or spread to other planets and galaxies?
No. This is why Jesus has to come back, right?
Well,
I mean, is that right? I'm saying that more and more now. This is why Jesus has to come back. I mean, I'm throwing my hands up in the air and saying, this is why Jesus has to come back. Am I wrong?
So, well, yeah. So I'll go, if you allow me, I'll go a little bit further, and then we'll see how the interview goes and what the reaction is. I can't help that. Our understanding as scientists with field theory, call it crazy, but I'm not backing down on this.
No, don't call it crazy.
We're under the impression that electromagnetic signature is definitely in our solar system that's unusual, and it's creating these earth changes and earth pressurization. It's going to be a reset. It's going to affect mostly the human society, and it's going to be a reset where there's a correction, and you're either going to make and survive this reset or you're not. If you're not spiritually advanced and in tune with the higher order, you're not going to make it. You're not going to survive these events, because what's coming to human society, what's coming to the earth, is not survivable by having Bitcoin, gold, silver, a bunker, storable food, water filtration, air filtration. No, this is way beyond that. A physical remedy is not going to do it. So I am screaming from the mountaintops as loud as I can that highest on your priority is you better get right spiritually, however you define that. I have my ideas. You and I talk privately. I'm not necessarily going to use your platform. Some might disagree, but could we agree with the listening audience? Your definition of spirituality, based on your understanding, I don't have to tell you, you know what it
I'm
is
going to go with the
to get
Bible.
right spiritually.
I'm going to go with the Bible in Christ Jesus. That's
Okay.
it. There's my deal. I think it's yours too. But let's come back to the volcanoes. This just happened a month ago. You said within a month we had 7 more active volcanoes. This is just what you're seeing here now on the screen.
Correct. Yeah.
But we have
this is the trunk line that became active. And the question is, why did it become active in such a precedented amount here? The computer's a little slow here. Why did this happen in August? Well, this is interesting. If we're the physics, possibly, if we're directly on the other side of this anomaly, there's some explanation of this uptick in August, end of July. But you can only imagine if we had this July and August into this month, what's going to happen late winter, early spring of 2026,
February,
and then again
March.
in 2028.
February, March, April. Look out.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a heads up. You want to make sure you have physical preparations, but and along with physical preparations is the mental component, to try to be stable mentally and connected mentally so you don't lose it. We're going to see a high rate of suicide, increased rates of divorce, strains on relationships because of the electromagnetic interference that does affect the human psyche. We're also going to see in the next 6 years more phenomenon because there's issues with the Earth's magnetosphere. So we expect toroidal vectoring. There might be an atomic theory, a quantum tunneling might be a definition people familiar with, but toroidal vectoring is we're going to have issues where the magnetosphere is compromised, and in regions, this is just an example, but say there's a 20-mile radius that temperatures well below negative 275 degrees Fahrenheit below zero will reach the surface.
I think we were talking about this. There were mastodons found in Russia, eastern Russia, near the Pacific, where mastodons were flash frozen with fresh food in their stomachs. They dug these up.
So if you could, right? If you can you see my cursor on the screen?
Yes, right in the middle.
Okay, right. I'm gonna
right here.
I'm here in Missouri. I'm gonna pick on Kansas.
Okay.
Just for the fun of it. We're going to have situations where, with this toroidal vectoring, there'll be a temporary collapse in the Earth magnetosphere. So picture a giant straw, like a soda straw, coming from out of Earth's atmosphere and breaching the surface of the ground. So you'll have within a 2, 7, 12-minute period, it all of a sudden is below minus 275 degrees. Everything in that 20-mile radius gets flash frozen. Metal freezes and shatters if you drop it. But 100 miles away, it's 52 degrees.
Wow.
And people are like, what are you talking about? What happened? 100 miles in Kansas, it got how cold? This will freak out humanity because there's no explanation as far as physics, what's going on. Well, it's happened before. So we're in a situation when it gets at this climax, we're dealing with a non-human event, is what I'm trying to warn people on your show.
Didn't it? Yes, I appreciate that, and I appreciate your expertise in science. And also, I'm going to tell on you here, you're also a biblical expert. You're also lots of hours, thousands of hours of studying the Bible. Now, didn't it say in the Bible that Jesus said men's hearts would fail in the end of days, that they would fail because things would be so bad? Something to that effect. Am I wrong?
Yeah, faint out of fear, and it's the connotation of being so frightened the hair instantly turns silver.
Wow.
Doesn't matter if you're 30 or 40 years old. And fear to such an extent, you literally die, your heart stops. And it's the connotation and the translation is the fact that it's an unknown, it's a fear of realizing what's happening is outside the normal human conception, and that this is something that is supernatural. And the fear is that you're on the wrong side of the supernatural event, and you drop dead instantly.
Whew, boy, what do you have here? Dex chart, radio flux.
Yeah, so this is showing, this is our solar cycle number 25. The last 3 solar cycles, the solar cycle minimums, the sun's getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And in this solar cycle, which started in 2019, we reached a peak in 2024, and now the solar flux is decreasing. So we have a weaker solar cycle the last 30 plus years to begin with, and we're past the peak, we're declining. There has to be something else other than our sun that's causing the Earth to behave this way. So I just wanted to bring up this model so that you can see that. And then here's a photograph of showing record breaking. What's with all this sargassum, seaweed all over the Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico?
Wow.
Because the stresses of the ocean. So you can't, a blind person could see this. Look at the volcanoes, the tsunamis, the hot domes.
It's out in the water. It's all over. Look at that. All in the water. It's all over the place. It's all over.
It's costing billions and billions and billions of dollars, bankrupting the resort industry of Mexico and the Caribbeans. And this is what's causing this? Well, the oceans are stressed. Everything's coming from all standpoint. Humans are starting to manifest stress. Look at the behavior on the news and the conduct of people. We're at a critical mass. So
show people what's happening. You have a video. We didn't get this in last time, and it was much. I thought of it later. Show people what is happening with this. This is a demonstration of what is happening with the magma. This is the magma. This is the black star, or the electromagnetic entity that's heating things up. Show us what you think scientifically is happening.
Yeah, this is a good model. It's I'll play it. It's 1 minute. But let's say this Bunsen burner. Let's say this is representing the Earth's core, and the Earth's core is getting heated up, or it's receiving additional electromagnetic energy, so it's heating up. What he's shown here in the lab is he's got a beaker, and this burgundy liquid, say this is picturing the magma that's surrounding the core. And this would be, the top of this beaker would be, the oceans and the Earth's crust. So as I play this video, watch what happens when the fluid, the burgundy fluid, representing the Earth's magma around the core, watch what happens when it reaches critical mass and superheats. You'll see on the right side, can you see my cursor?
Yep, sure do.
Okay, watch this video. You'll see on the right side, it'll all of a sudden burp. And what's representing the magma will burst to the surface. And then a few seconds later, you'll see another burp right here. And then the last 10 seconds, he'll turn this beaker around, and you'll see all of this burgundy representing the magma, how it is in these columns and has breached the surface. So this is showing exactly, picture this Bunsen burner as the Earth's core. This is the magma around the core. And as it heats up, as the magma rises, picture that's what's happening. The magma is going to rise, and it's going to affect the oceans and where we live. Here we go. Watch this burp on the extreme right of the beaker. Boom, see it?
That would be like a volcano erupting.
Correct. But these magma plumes are the size of continents.
Wow.
That are going to burp and breach the surface. So there's going to be new land masses that we don't have right now. And watch, he's getting ready to turn it. There he goes. Now look. Bam. See how all this now, see these plumes have reached the surface? That's what's going to cause, I'll pause it. So this is what's happening now. This is volcanoes, but also there'll be plumes the size of continents that'll come all the way up, and they'll either breach through the ocean floor or they'll breach through California, Washington, Oregon, Japan, the Mediterranean, Iceland, Peru, Chile. And if you're on the surface, it's game over. Complete geological reconfiguration. It's happening as we speak. But watch what happens in the next 6 years. This intensifies. This will collapse all governments' economies.
And this is what happens. This is what happens when Jesus comes back. You know, everybody is thinking that they can just keep on going their merry way, and they can do whatever they want. But that's not going to happen. I mean, if you believe in scriptures, and I do, in Revelation, Jesus comes back, and they try to stop him. Actually, everybody tries to stop him because they don't want to give up power. You've taught me this, and that doesn't work out too good, right?
Correct. So,
I mean, he's not coming back on a donkey. He's coming back on a fine white charger.
Right. So we're dealing with.
Come back on with me.
Okay. I'll stop screen sharing. We're dealing with. Can you see me now?
Yep, sure can.
What I'm trying to tell you, which might sound bizarre and unsubstantiated with typical university physics textbooks that we're familiar with. I get that. Don't email me. I've already gotten hundreds of. Please don't. All right. What I'm trying to tell you with field theory is there is a consciousness that's orchestrating the extra electromagnetic energy hitting the Earth. That's not good because the Earth is stress. We live on the surface of the Earth. We're going to be affected by this. So the question is, who or what is this consciousness that controls the electromagnetic signature that's hitting the Earth? What's the purpose of this? I look at this because I wear several hats as a scientist and these ancient texts and this study. I don't brag about it, and I also keep it low key. I'm not going to mention it on this show. Privately, that's one thing. I'm just telling you, we're connecting the dots because there's more than just me connecting. And we're like, uh-oh. This is acting more like it's a reset. The planet's going to survive, plants and animals, and there will be some humans to survive, but this is looking like a spiritual reset, but physics are going to be used like it was in ancient times. So then this gets in the realm, well, is this, if you look in the scripture, book of Revelation and other references in Daniel and Ezekiel and other texts, is this the Great Tribulation, the Armageddon event? Or if you have other spiritual philosophies, your ancient texts, is it talking about a reset? Is this where some people are going to elevate to a higher plane and others don't make it? Whatever that is, I'm telling you as a scientist, we're connecting dots going, yeah, I think this is it. This is not normal. This is going to increase, especially in the next 6 years. We're going to see things we've never seen before. This is not controlled by human agencies. This is a doozy. Doesn't look like many are going to survive. If you're just in the physical realm only, not many are going to survive. So think very seriously, listening to this interview, and as time goes on, connect the dots, rewatch these interviews, and I highly recommend you review and analyze the spiritual component. That's why I'm on this. That's why I take time. Thank you for the platform. Digest what I'm saying. I don't believe a high rate of acceptance. I don't blame you. But over time, look at the evidence, review these videos, and go, what if there's a 5% chance what Weston was saying is correct?
It may be much higher than that. It's going to be much higher.
Jesus, much higher than that. And
this
trying to be as polite as possible.
This makes sense because, listen, I'm no biblical scholar, but I read the Bible, and it's always puzzled me for Jesus, and they got this right because it's really clear that Jesus said, this is after the resurrection, all power in heaven and on earth, has been given to me. Wow, wouldn't this electromagnetic anomaly be under Jesus's power? If all power, all, not some, not a little, not I'm going to make a deal, not I'm going to play nice, all. all power. Wouldn't this be under his direct control?
Yes, if you look at those from that context, that would be a correct assessment that celestial bodies and electromagnetic signatures is under the control and under the authority of that realm. So that's a non-dimensional realm in counter space. They have the physics and technology to do that, and we're at the butt end of this condition. So that's why I'm hinting towards there's a scientific evidence. Okay, picture, I get it. Magma's moving, earthquakes, volcanoes, hot pockets, jet stream, ocean currents stalling, hail enlarging, food prices. I get it, Weston. Okay, I've covered that. Now I'm saying, please look at the spiritual component, what that looks like for you, because I think to survive what's coming, that's the answer. It's not going to be physical preparedness. It's not going to cut it. This is very, very important.
Hold that thought. I want to do one thing for my advertiser, and this is we're under attack everywhere. This is the ivermectin benbendazole compound that they have for having people who have parasites. 60 million people have parasites. That's something else. You better get well. Also, Dr. Peter McCullough has talked about this as a preventative for cancer, or using for cancer. Ivermectin, benbendazole, also fenbendazole. I had Dr. Elizabeth Eads on talking about how she likes this product. She doesn't get paid by the wellness company at all. She says, I just like this product. It's good for basically shedding and that kind of thing, because we're under attack. It's all very well done. Also, it's $600, but with the promo code USA Watchdog, it knocks it down to a little more than $500. Free shipping. I've priced this with other really reputable, good people that I know of that test their products, and this is about in line with what you're getting now. So this is the wellness company. A lot of doctors, Dr. Peter McCullough likes this also as well. He brought up the off-label use of these types of drugs for cancer. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you how to dose for cancer, but Peter McCullough has brought it up. Dr. Pierre Corey has brought it up. A lot of doctors have brought it up. Dr. Elizabeth Eads brought it up. But anyway, it's good for also lots of things, especially parasites. And a lot of people have, 60 million people, according to the wellness company, have parasites. But I want to come back out and follow up with the spiritual component of this with you, Weston Warren. And I am not ashamed at all about talking about this, because I've long thought that why did Jesus say that? Why did he say all power in heaven and earth has been given to me? And you're one of the ones that helped me understand that. And that is control everything. I mean, this fits in with this black star, electronic anomaly, whatever. I mean, this kind of fits in with it. This is not a small deal. A hiccup. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go for broke. What do I have to lose? I'm already off the diving board now, so I might as well do it.
Do the black flip. Do it.
Okay, I'm doing. Yeah, and it'll be complete belly flop.
No. Come on.
Okay, in this connection, your audience is aware. A lot of people are this. What's with this transhumanism trend? What's with the technology that reverse transcripts and edits DNA?
Yeah.
Okay, ad nauseum, and you have excellent guests, very knowledgeable guests. I'm telling you, from our perspective in our scientific community, we're like, here's what's going on. The genetic alteration, I gave a little clue in the last interview. They are, and maybe you've already heard this, I apologize if I'm repeating what a guest has already said, they are tokenizing human DNA. All assets on Earth are being tokenized, put on the blockchain. There are multiple companies, or 4 companies right now and more, that are doing it full time, in case you don't know. Why are they doing that? Well, what happens is, if your gene is edited, certain corporations are going to claim ownership of your DNA because they have their VIN number, their signature on your DNA on the blockchain. This gets very weird. Put your seatbelts on. Here it goes. What's happening is, if your genetic code is altered, your DNA is going to have trouble picking up the signalings coming from our sun by our design. So if you talk about the heavenly realm or a higher source, communication from counter space comes through the sun because there's data attached to the electromagnetic frequencies coming from the sun. Certain frequencies, our DNA is tuned to pick up and receive. Plants have it, animals have it, humans have it. So communication is taking place via our DNA and the sun's electromagnetic energy. If that gets interrupted, or the DNA gets altered, that communication is broken or that communication is jammed. So what we have here, we have a battle of who has the right or who wants to control human and human consciousness through DNA, script, and electromagnetic transmission. Are we going to remain human and connected to source or God with an analog DNA responding to the sun? There's a reason why we live on the surface. We have to interact with the sun and be out in nature. Or are we going to have our DNA changed, uploaded on the blockchain, bought and sold and controlled through 5-6G system and AI electromagnetic signatures and override human consciousness and kind of hijack humans? This is a long-term plan, but a lot of it is supposed to go in effect by 2060. We're thinking that another realm, the heavenly realm or source, is going to run interruption or interference and go, no, we're not going to let your technology and the plan come to fruition. So an interrupter has entered our solar system, is going to create havoc, and there's going to be a reset. So you're either on one side of this issue or another. So be very careful with technologies or medical treatments or things of that nature that can affect consciousness, thought, DNA, behavior. Think that something very sneaky has been going on and planned for a long time, and make sure you don't fall victim, because there's a lot at stake, and the human population, most have no idea what's going on.
I love it. I love it. And this would make sense to you. Why would God do something like this? This is why Jesus has to come back. And when he comes back, this black star, this anomaly, is part of him coming back. It's part of him coming back.
So you talked about your sponsor with the ivermectin. This is all, ladies and gentlemen, this is all connected. Your gut biome, if there's parasites and bacterium in your gut biome, there's a gut-brain corridor. So a lot of addictions, sexual drive, drug addictions, alcohol addictions, a lot of that derives from your gut biome. It's possible that your gut biome can overrule your brain consciousness. Well, why do you think they've had GMO, genetically engineered food, for many, many decades? It's 50 years now. Do you know that?
Yes.
Why are they genetically engineering food? Why are they genetically engineering animal? Why are they changing the human gut biome? Why do we have nanotechnology that's self-assembling, that broke the 5 nanometer barrier, probably 2007? I'm not in that group, I'm guesstimating. We're the outcasts, we're the good guys, and we're highly outnumbered. You put all this together and you're like, this is what they're doing. They're changing human DNA, human gut biome, plant, animal DNA. Now they're tokenizing human DNA, the blockchain, AI, transhumanism. It's like, yes, that's what they're doing. This is an epic battle. Who's going to win? You think the original design, source, God, creator, where we're natural analog, or is it going to be this technocracy with corporations, AI, surveillance, social score, 15-minute city, Skylink, satellite? Who's going to win? What do you think?
Well, I'm back to what I keep saying. I'm breaking it down to something simple. This is why Jesus has to come back. We can't fix this. We can't.
No, you can't. This. It's way beyond our human capability.
Help. We need. This is demonic.
We have to have non-human help. We have to have non-human help.
Yeah.
I'm convinced as a scientist we have to. Absolutely.
I will leave you with this. You heard about this guy. He's an Asian guy, lovely man, young guy. I say man, but he's a man. But he's got a 270 IQ. And he's saying he's a field theory scientist, just like you. Mm-hmm. And he says and he just had a new video saying, if you take a look at what's going on, you can all agree on certain things. Did people see Jesus, or was it mass psychosis? Well, if you look at it scientifically, people saw Jesus. It wasn't mass psychosis. And therefore, and he basically went on and said, Jesus is real. God is real. Jehovah is real. And we're watching it play out in just spectacular form. Just in a month, you were telling me that 7 more earthquakes went hot. I mean, that's unbelievable. You wouldn't have 7 more earthquakes going hot in 10 years, 50 years ago. You wouldn't have that.
Volcanoes.
I'm sorry. Volcanoes. Right. Volcanoes went hot, started spewing stuff. And then you have this volcano that hasn't gone off in 600 years up in Russia. And then you saw the earthquake along with it, which went hand in hand. When you have volcanoes, you have earthquakes. Mm-hmm. When you have earthquakes, you have volcanoes. Anyway, Listen, I loved it. You put it all together. I loved it. You tied it all together. This is why Jesus, oh, God would never do something like this. Jehovah would never. Yes, he would, and he is, and he has to, or he
Yeah.
loses,
So
and he's not losing.
let me tell you.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
real quick for some hope. Here it goes. But to end it kind of on a positive note, um, we will survive this. 100% we will. But let me tell you what some of the good scientists, like our group, me, what we're doing. Well, we understand field theory. We have medbed technology. We have a working prototype. You privately know a lot of this information and you've seen it. We won't talk about it on the show, but you can nod your head and say yes.
Yes,
Greg
but I haven't
knows.
been able to. You told me it was a protected piece of information.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what happens is this is very simple. The human design is marvelous. The human body is like an orchestra. So organs vibrate at specific frequencies and they sing a song. It's like an orchestra. They're in concert. If there's an illness and there's problem with organs, that particular organ is in a state of disease or dis-ease. The frequency harmonics of the tissues comprising of the organs, the cells, the mitochondria, is out of tune. It's not vibrating. We've developed technology where you're in a chamber, and if it's a particular organ, let's say lung, liver, kidney, whatever it is, we know a particular frequency. If you're isolated in the chamber and the frequency, the proper frequency of the kidney is in an environment where the cells can start vibrating and be retuned, like someone who's able to tune a piano, a professional tunist. When that happens, you have healing because the cells are not at dis-ease, but they're at ease, a state of healing. But for that to work in this chamber, a superfluid needs to be designed. That's what I was assigned, that I've worked on for 7 years now, and we have it. So what happens is we have these technologies. Now what we're finding out is people that have been injected with technologies that have nano components, there's a way to break that up and exit the body. So we're in a situation. This is a war that's going on you would not believe. The problem is if you've had these injections and have this technology and they're self-assembling, how do you get it out of your system? It's very important to get out of the system. Well, this is research that's very important. The power structure will not let this technology ever see the day of light or be marketed. That's a guarantee. So read between the lines what I'm talking about. So to let you know, there are scientists out there that see what's going on. There's prototypes being developed to address this issue. We're not just sitting on our hands. We're highly outnumbered. We don't have the funds, whatever. But let's say we have the good guys on our side at a higher spiritual level, however you want to define that. Yeah, it works. And we're being successful. So the hope is there's enough of us out there. We're between what we can come up with in our mind, in our prototypes, in conjunction with help at a higher level. We will make it. We will make it as a family of kind, loving brotherhood.
Weston Warren, just want to talk a little bit about your Weston Scientific. You have a phone number here. I'm going to say it with all the other people, but if we start getting these big plumes of ash, it might be helpful. I mean, this is, you have to have a spiritual relationship with God the Father, Jehovah, and Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, but it might be helpful for you to have some place to have where you have a clean area, and that's your Weston Scientific. Don't just trap germs, kill them naturally. The bipolar ionization. We start having big plumes of ash going up in the air, like you get not one but 30 of these going off all over the planet with 20,000 feet of ash going up in the air. You may want to have some of these components, which because of these tariffs, you are running short on parts, and you're down to only 4 different units that you sell now.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the bad news. I hate to say this. My days are numbered. between the tariffs and what's happening to the supply chain, key components of our technology is disappearing, disappearing, disappearing. Here's how bad it's going to get. And look, did the WHO not get the pandemic treaty signed? Oh, but look up, there's 7 countries, the United States. There's only 7 countries that didn't sign it. Everyone else signed it. You don't think with the WHO getting that document signed, you don't think there's going to be something else coming up, like a 2.0 of what happened? Okay. All right. Our technologies are very effective. They are systematically choking us out. So here's what's going to happen. Not only do we have limited supply, do not call. If your listeners call, you're going to wipe us out in 3 weeks. We won't have anything left. So please don't do that. But I'm telling you, before December, we're going to run out of half of our inventory. And after January, we're only going to have half the products available. And I hate to say this, after January, you are not going to be able to get our technology unless you are a previous customer. We're going to have to stop it from all new customers. I'm saying I'm sorry. What we have left is only for repeat customers. So if you have family members that have been dragging their feet for years, whatever, they're not going to be able to get it. You might be able to get it because we're going to look and see, are you a previous customer? All right, we'll try. What do you want? We'll try to get you. We don't care if it's we'll get it. Anyone else saying we don't have it? We will not have our technology. And when they come out with 2.0 with the WHO and they flex their muscle, we can't help you. This is how bad it's getting. And I didn't want to say this. I'm going to get killed at the office and my wife for saying this, but it's full disclosure. It's limited in the first of the year, no new customers, only repeat customers, and for what we have left. We knew this was coming. They are choking me out, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Listen, to be forewarned is be forearmed. So if you're thinking about getting this kind of technology, everybody loves it. Everybody that I've given a ton of this stuff away. I've gotten it from you because I made some trades and all that. I have it in every room in my house, paid full price for it. Everybody I sleep so much better. Oh, I'm doing so. This is fantastic. Nobody ever goes, nothing. It didn't do anything. Oh no, yeah, did do something. Anyway, Weston,
you should hear the testimonies with the ag industry. I don't even hardly talk about that. We have micro farms that grow greens and nutrients and greenhouses. This has saved entire family businesses because the technology works so well in grow houses with plant pathogens and yield production 4 times. The testimonies are off the chart. So I have that industry, and they're choking off product for the growers of greenhouses. So I'm very, very upset because I'm looking at 2026, and I'm like, they're going to put me out of business. I can't get these key components.
Anyway,
that's my problem. But I'm just telling you guys behind the scenes, full disclosure.
I've been pushing this for a long time because I've been pushing this because I believe in the product. I mean, I see it working. I have one friend of mine who's so skeptical now. He's like, he bought 2700s, but you don't sell those anymore because of the parts problem. He bought all the rebuild parts, which you have to rebuild some of these every couple of years. At least the purification plate is every year. But anyway, listen, you have to have, this is just a tool. This is just one of many tools.
We make these in the United States, but some of the components come from China, and some are here. It's mix match, but they're designed and assembled here, so it's it's like 80% USA made. But the components we get from China, they're like the only ones that make it. What people don't realize is a lot of these Chinese manufacturers, they're companies of 30 employees and smaller. They're small, independent Chinese factories. They're all out of business because of the tariffs and the geopolitics bickering. They're out of business. So I put on order. They're like, so sorry. We couldn't survive the hit. We were living from check to check. And I'm like, all these small guys are out of business. And they made the components. These are big companies. They're gone. They're not coming back. We're screwed.
Well,
you do
have some product left now. You do have some stuff left. There's a phone number. I'll talk about this again. You go on the website. Okay. You'll be you or your wife or somebody will answer the phone if they need more talking. But anyway, Weston Warren. Wow. Okay. This is supposed to be a short update, but I love it. This is fantastic. This is really
Sorry.
you pull it all together. They're just going after us. I mean, we're at war with evil. We're pure evil, principalities, and in high places. And I don't mean high places just in government. I mean, this is demonic. What's going on? They're going after the human race. Karen Kingston says they're trying to make the human race extinct. Jesus said there'd be no flesh left if the days were not shortened. So, for the sake of the elect, the days shall be shortened. Weston Warren, thank you for helping us survive so we can make it till Jesus shortens those days. Thank you, Weston Warren, for helping us here and talking about the Black Star and tying it all together. That this is a much higher game plan going on than just an anomaly. It's going to mess a few things up.
Absolutely. And look, we've got to stick together. Community, like-minded people, spirituality, absolute number one priority. Please build a community. And spiritual priority number one. I'm begging people, please.
Thanks for joining us, Weston.
Okay.
Weston Warren, thanks again for tying it all together. The Black Star, scriptures, transhumanism. Thanks for tying it all together for us. It makes total sense to me. Just before I go, the sponsors, Discount Gold and Silver Trading. This is Melody Cedarstrom. Gold's on a tear. 800-375-4188. This is the satellite phone store. This is the satellite phones and the battery backup power generation. People love that. They've had a lot of great testimonials saying, man, I'm glad I had that when the storm came through, or when a tornado came through, or a hurricane came through. Just fantastic. Block all signals. They have new bags, huge bags, big enough for me to get into. They also have the smaller ones here, the ballistic bag, which will stop most handgun rounds, also for your satellite phone and your cell phone. Clean water, gotta have it. Dry element. There's a phone number for everyone, including them. There's Weston Scientific. Once again, he's in short supply. If you were thinking about getting a Carry Ion or a couple of them, or a 1500, or he's got a couple other units too that they use in greenhouses. You may want to give them a call. You may want to go on their website and look at the shop button underneath there. Last but not least, I just talked about the wellness company. Get life-saving meds now. There's a promo code USA Watchdog. That's a 15% off. That equals about $90 off of this. It brings it down to a little more than $500 free shipping. That is about what other good companies are charging for this type of dosing, for 25 milligrams of ivermectin and 250 milligrams of mebendazole. But anyway, there you are. The Get Life-Saving Meds now. That's the folks at the Wellness Company. They're good folks, and I love their products. Thank you again for supporting USA Watchdog. Remember what Weston said. Prepare yourself mentally, physically, but above all, and I'm glad he said this, above all, there's a spiritual component here. Get right with Christ Jesus. Make him your Lord and Savior. The Jehovah who put Jesus in charge, as I said, all power has been given. Who gave that to him? Jehovah. All power in heaven and earth has been given to me. So Jehovah and Christ Jesus and the Holy Spirit are all firmly in control. And Jesus said, as I said in the interview, there be no flesh left as the days were not shortened. So, for the sake of the elect, the days shall be shortened. Be the elect. Hang on to Jesus Christ, and he will never let you go. Thank you for supporting USAWatchdog.com with your comments and donations. I do have an email service that I say, if you go right here and click join right there, if you just click join, you will be able to go to a page where you put your name and your email down, and I'll send you a notification every time that I have a new post out. This one here, Greg's Private Messages, same thing. Your name and email, you can submit, but you can unsubmit. You can whenever you want. I do not sell my list, and so there you go. Once in a while, I have a offer every once in a while, but I haven't had that for a long time. But anyway, thank you so much for supporting USAWatchdog.com with your comments and donations. I appreciate it. Thank you again for supporting me at USAWatchdog.com. Be blessed.